I'm going to get started in 1 second. Thank you for joining. Eric?
Kathy, you ready?
Yep.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining. This is our second town hall. We did one of these last year before the conference, and I'll be your MC sort of today as we go through some resolutions, bylaws, and some updates. Unfortunately, Alan McGill or Joe cannot be with us to present, so I'll sort of be your MC for today. So, as for some conference updates. The annual conference obviously is October 23rd and 26th at Embassy Suites downtown Minneapolis. Be sure to reserve your room. That way you can make sure that you get a reserve hotel there in the host hotel. We've had a great turnout so far. We have 154 registrants from 34 different states. So we've had a terrific turnout so far. The meeting will begin promptly at 8:15 Monday morning, October 23rd, and conclude Thursday afternoon at 11:30 a.m. Don't miss our networking events and happy hour after each day. We'll also have a welcome reception dinner Monday night, October 23rd at 6:15, and there'll be a fully cooked to order breakfast provided each day. We look forward to seeing everyone at the annual conference. So, again, my name is Eric Griffin. I'm the vice president at NASCSA on the executive committee. And over the last year, we've been extremely busy, and we're going to share some of the things that we've also worked on, we've concluded, and that we're bringing to the membership along with the resolutions and bylaws. So this year, we do have the NASCSA Code of Conduct, which is new, that will be posted on the website and at the conference. So just to make sure that everybody is on the same page with code of conduct and everything like that, we wanted to make sure and give all of our members the courtesy of having that. In addition, I would like to thank all the members of the Resolutions and Bylaws Committee. Obviously, myself, I chair it. Larry Hauk from Hyman, Phelps, and McNamara. Shannon Taney from the Minnesota Board of Pharmacy. Stephanie Mueller from Mississippi Board of Pharmacy. And Terry Waskowski from Iowa Board of Pharmacy. So thank you to all my members. We spent a lot of time going over resolutions and the potential bylaw changes and things like that. So thank you for all the time that you donated to NASCSA. So this year we have one proposed bylaw change to consider at the meeting. The bylaw is posted on our website in accordance with our bylaws. In addition, we have 6 proposed resolutions to consider. And we'll review these the bylaw changes and the resolutions. But as a reminder, they will be posted online, and there'll be limited copies available at the conference. So we'll go ahead and get into this. As a reminder, with voting, Kathy, there we go. Thank you. Voting in accordance with Article 11 of our bylaws, and I'm not going to read all the bylaws, but each state, Commonwealth, district, or territory with regular membership may cast only one vote. The voting member shall be a member from the Controlled Substance Authority, or in their absence, any other member may be a voting delegate. So just as a reminder on Article 11. So we're going to now get into our first proposed bylaw. And as soon as Kathy gets it up, we're going to start. It's going to be Article 12 of our of it, and the resolution for Article 12 is to make changes. And so to Article 12, it reads, any member may propose a resolution to be considered by the regular members at the business meeting of the association. The resolution must include and this is the new part, include a statement of purpose and must be submitted in writing to the Resolutions and Bylaw Committee no less than, and we'd like to change it from 45 days to 60 days prior to the meeting at which it will be considered. Voting shall be in accordance with Article 11, requiring a simple majority of passage, and also adding the language of additional information may be requested of the submitter by the Resolution and Bylaw Committee. That's in section 1 there. In section 3, we'd also like to add in there, if the resolution and statement of purpose is received by the Resolution and Bylaws less than 60 days, and again, both of those changes in section 3 there, prior to the business meeting at which at the association at which would be considered, it may be considered with a 2/3 of regular members present voting to approve the consideration. If approved for consideration, the resolution will require affirmative majority vote in accordance with Article 11. So that is the proposed bylaw change. Moving on to our resolutions, we have 6 resolutions that we're going to discuss. The first resolution is going to be 2301, a resolution encouraging the review of status of Schedule 1 drugs. So specifically, we asked submitters this year, it was not part of the bylaws, but if they would mind submitting a statement of purpose. And so we do have a statement of purpose for each one of these today. So a resolution encouraging the facilitation of rescheduling drugs and substance from Schedule 1 that may be approved for medical use. So the purpose of this resolution is to raise awareness for ongoing research efforts around Schedule 1 medications. These Schedule 1 medications, particularly psychedelics, at the moment, but cannabinoids in recent histories appear to be moving towards an approval by the Food and Drug Administration and subsequently the Drug Enforcement Administration for rescheduling. It is important for states to be aware of these changes and consider making changes to their statutes and regulations to prepare for the potential new medications to prevent interruption to patient care. So in reviewing this resolution, again, this is 2023-01. It would be further resolved that the National Association of State-Controlled Substance Authorities encourages states, districts, territories to review and revise applicable statutes and regulations to facilitate the availability of former Schedule 1 drugs and substances to ensure timely patient access to FDA-approved drugs. Moving to Resolution 2023-02, a resolution to require enhanced storage of controlled substances by non-practitioners. Statement of purpose. To greatly reduce the potential for internal and external diversion while providing full and lawful user accountability, electronic audit records, and consistent supervision also allows for the access controlled system to be set up as a silent duress alarm and prevents storage units of controlled substance from being left ajar for potential diversion. The current 53-year-old law, not accounting for currently available technology, requires a Group 1R combination mechanical dial lock forces everyone to have the same access code with zero accountability, oversight, or control. This is a direct violation of law requiring the registrants to take every means possible to prevent diversion. So in Resolution 2023-02, therefore it be resolved that the National Association of State-Controlled Substance Authorities encourages controlled substance authorities, boards of pharmacies, and the DEA administration to strengthen and enhance Schedule 1 through 5 physical security requirements for non-practitioners consistent with 21 CFR 1301.72A by terminating the use of Group 1R combination or key locks and key lock overrides as less effective than an electronic access system. Non-practitioners should replace Group 1R locks with widely used commercially available UL Type 1 high security electronic access control systems manufactured by numerous UL listed manufacturers. Moving on to Resolution 2023-03, resolution supporting enhanced control of xylazine. Statement of purpose. The resolution is being put forth to address the growing problem of abuse of xylazine and encourages states, territories, and districts to consider measures to curtail diversion, increase record keeping and security, and adopt whatever measures will reduce the illicit availability of the drug. Resolution 2023-03. Therefore, it be resolved that NASCSA supports legislation and/or regulation in states, commonwealths, districts, or territories to further regulate xylazine to include required registration, reporting, record keeping, and security, as well as increased penalties for unlawful manufacturing or distribution and other means necessary to limit illicit use of the drug while ensuring availability for legitimate veterinarian use.
So Eric, we had somebody, and I appreciate the comment. We had somebody that wanted to offer an amendment. However, I think this needs to happen at the formal business session rather than now. So Elizabeth, if you could just shoot me an email with your comments, if you don't mind, and we can
All right. Are we good to continue, Kathy?
Yep.
Okay. NASCSA Resolution 2023-04, a resolution in support of PMPs that encourages states to identify and implement sustainable, non-competitive funding for PMPs. Excuse me. Statement of purpose. While widely successful during the opiate crisis, PMPs are now faced with fatal and non-fatal overdose epidemic. PMPs often struggle to identify and secure funding for the maintenance and enhancement of program operations. This resolution seeks to encourage states to review their PMP's funding for sustainability as well as identify alternative funding paths. For PMPs to remain successful, they require sustainable funding to continue to provide the critical prescription information for all healthcare entities. Resolution 2023-04. Therefore, it be resolved, NASCSA's Executive Committee is directed to seek opportunities to support PMPs and encourage jurisdictions to review current funding processes and examine federal and state opportunities to secure sustainable, non-competitive funding for the continued enhancement and maintenance of PMPs, and further resolved that jurisdictions communicate to their congressional delegates and federal agencies the important roles of PMPs play in the prevention and treatment of substance use disorder within the current overdose epidemic, and further resolve that NASCSA continues to oppose any initiative or program that duplicates or replaces individual PMPs. Resolution 2023-05, recognizing Karen Tannerant. The resolution is being put forth to recognize Karen Tannerant for her many contributions to the mission and success of NASCSA by making her an honorary member of the association. Whereas the proposed National Association of State-Controlled Substance Authorities is provided in communication mechanism through which states and federal agencies can work to increase effectiveness and efficiency of state and national efforts to prevent prescription drug abuse. Whereas Karen Tanner, during her distinguished career at the Texas Department of Health, devoted many years of public service and was instrumental in initiating many positive enhancements to the state's controlled substance and pharmacy issues and worked on various regulations, policies aimed at reducing prescription drug abuse and diversion. Karen was extremely active in NASCSA, serving in a variety of leadership roles for almost 10 years, including serving as president, vice president, chair of the board, and serving on many committees, task forces during her distinguished career. Karen provided ongoing support and assistance with NASCSA in meeting its goals, including speaking at annual conferences and sharing her vast expertise. And therefore it be resolved that NASCSA, during the 39th annual meeting, hereby express its appreciation to Karen Tanner for her efforts, and further be resolved, made an honorary member of NASCSA, and that this resolution be included in the official minutes of NASCSA, and a copy presented to Karen Tanner. Resolution 2023-05, or excuse me, 06, a resolution recognizing Josh Vincent Guerra. Whereas the purpose of NASCSA is to provide a continuing mechanism through which state, federal, and federal agencies and others can work to increase effectiveness and efficiencies of states and national efforts to prevent prescription drug abuse. Whereas Joshua Vincent Guerra, during his distinguished career at the New York Department of Health, devoted many years of public service and was instrumental in initiating many positive enhancements to the state's controlled substance issues, including the state's prescription monitoring program and working on various regulations, policies aimed at reducing prescription drug abuse. Whereas Joshua Vincent Guerra was extremely active in NASCSA, serving in a variety of leadership roles for many years, including serving as secretary treasurer and serving on many committees and task force during his distinguished career. Whereas Joshua Vincent Guerra provided ongoing support and assistance to NASCSA in meeting its goals, including speaking at the annual conference and sharing his vast expertise. Therefore, it be resolved that NASCSA, during the 39th annual meeting, hereby expresses its appreciation to Joshua Vincent Guerra for his efforts. Further resolved that Joshua Vincent Guerra be made an honorary member of NASCSA, and further resolved that the resolution be included in the official minutes of NASCSA and a copy provided to Joshua Vincent Guerra. All right, we have successfully reviewed the 6 resolutions and 1 bylaw proposal, and now we are going to move to committee reports. And we're going to start with policy and communications. Ralph, do you mind joining us?
And I apologize for the technical difficulties I've encountered. I think I have the presentation in a continuous loop, so it kept jumping around. So it's not in presentation mode, so I apologize.
Okay. Well, thank you for the introduction, Eric. My name's Ralph Orr. I'm the Policy and Communications Director for NASCSA. This is a new position for NASCSA. Started last November, I believe it was, after the annual conference. So over this year, there's been a few hot topics of interest. The first one is the state access to PD&P grant funding from BJA. There's been several communications with them, online meetings. Quite frankly, the issue of well, the good news is that some of the funding has been released, but some of it has not been released. So it's a continuing work in progress. We've also coordinated with NABP to allow to inform CDC of concerns over special conditions in their OD2A version 2 grants. And that was very successful in the fact that There are no special requirements or conditions in the OD2A grants, but however, states have experienced a decrease in the amount of funding available in those grants, and CDC has directed states that they can use only a certain percentage of prevention dollars to support PDMP efforts. So it creates some funding shortfalls for a lot of PMPs, and therefore that led to the proposed resolution that Eric just read for everybody. Some other issues that came up, there was some talk about or looking into the issues of transferring of e-prescriptions. And we've worked with some people to gather that information. DEA has released some final regulations to allow for transfer of certain e-prescriptions, and that's going to be helpful. The only holdup that we have now to alleviate some of these issues that dispensers are having is CMS has to finalize regulations to allow the latest standard for NCPDP script standard, so that it allows for that electronic transfer to be captured appropriately. So that is still in process. But however, it is clear, or well, we've been told that once that final regulation is in place, many systems can immediately implement that, and then all systems will have up to 2 years to implement that. So that's a really positive note on that. The most recent thing that came up was DEA held a 2-day listening session, which is kind of unprecedented on their telehealth regulations. And during that session, there were several comments that talked about PMP interoperability and the access to treatment program dispensing information within the PMP. Some commenters even made comments about developing federal PMPs and those kinds of things. DEA is intending, or it appears that they are intending to reopen the proposed regulations for an additional comment period later this fall, and we'll continue. But I think it's an opportunity for prescription monitoring programs to further educate their users, and maybe for NASCA to reach out to some of the associations that commented during the listening sessions to inform them of some of the issues that we encounter. Some of the people that I've worked with over the year has been, I went to the BJA grantee meeting in December and was able to meet some of the folks in person at BJA and catch up with a lot of the PMP administrators there. Been working in partnership with NABP on the PMP funding, and of course the interoperability and integration issues, and also on the I attend executive committee meetings, PMP committee meetings, controlled substances authorities committee meetings, and other committees as needed. So it's been really interesting after so many years of being part of the NASCA executive committee and board to be like reporting to the executive committee, but it's been a very worthwhile endeavor. So thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, Ralph. And you've done a great job this year. So thank you very much for your efforts. Next, we'll move to our Secretary Treasurer, Sid Seal, for his report.
Good afternoon, and thanks for the opportunity. I just want to thank the executive committee and the members of the finance committee for all the hard work they put in this year. We've done quite a bit in this past year on behalf of NASCA. The finance committee, like I said, has had a very, very busy year. A new bookkeeper has been added to help with our keeping track of all of our finances, and to put them in the columns that a lot of us non-professional money people would know where to go. We've also obtained a new accountant to do taxes and all for the organization, saving NASCA around $3,000 for the year. And it seems like they're been a lot easier to work with and saving us money also. We've also shifted money from various savings vehicles that is helping us to diversify and make more money for the organization. So in case we do ever hit a period where we have another COVID type situation, that we're covered and we're safe in those areas. That pretty much covers it. Just again, thanks for all the finance committee members and the NASCA executive committee for working on this. And I think we've got the finances in order for NASCA, and look forward to this next year.
Thanks, Sid. Next, we will go to our PMP committee and Melissa Danoon.
Thanks, Eric. My name is Melissa Danoon. I am the South Dakota PDP director, and I do sit on the executive committee, and I co-chair the PMP committee with Haley Winans from Michigan. To report on the PMP committee's year, I wanted to start by thanking Ralph Orr, our new policy and communications director. He does join all of our PMP committee meetings, and really a big thing that he did help many of us states with is he organized, and we've had several meetings with the states affected with the funding issues of the 2021 BJA PDP grants. We really appreciate Ralph's efforts with that. During our meetings this year, we did have ongoing discussions on several topics. We basically, each meeting did bring up and gave updates on the proposed changes and additions for ASAP version 5.0, which is how all of our dispensers submit their data into our databases. We did talk about the Support Act, Section 5042 PMP reporting requirement, and also how the proposed rule changes to 42 CFR Part 2 may affect PDMPs. And we also encouraged all state PMPs to once again provide to the DEA their requested aggregate production quota reports. We did this last year, and we had, I believe, 37 states PMP participate. So we asked for our programs to do that again, and we really want to continue that partnership with the DEA. We also supported Ralph Orr's proposed PMP resolution that Eric did already go over. Our data integrity subcommittee did create a CE lesson for pharmacists and pharmacy technicians titled Data Quality and Prescription Monitoring Programs. And we hope to have that go live at conference time. And that's going to be something that all of us in our states are going to ask our pharmacy boards, pharmacy associations to really spread the word that CE lesson, which is at no cost for pharmacists and pharmacy techs to take advantage of. It is accredited, so they can get credit towards their licenses and registrations. And it really gives them some great information about the importance of submitting accurate data to PMPs. Our conference program planning subcommittee did finalize 4 great PMP sessions that are upcoming at our annual conference, so we're excited for those. And we added a few new members throughout the year, so we now are at 22 member states. And like I said, we do have several other subcommittees as well that also work hard. So in conclusion, I just really want to thank all of our members of the PMP committees, and then all the members that are also on the subcommittees and those that chair and co-chair those subcommittees as well. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Melissa. Next, we'll move on to our membership committee, Jason Solosky.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Slavosky, and I am the pharmacist administrator for the state of Delaware. I oversee the state's prescription monitoring program. I am one of the co-chairs of the membership committee, and we are a small but mighty committee with a handful of members that are primarily tasked with ensuring that we keep and maintain and find new sponsors. Sponsors are the lifeblood of our association. So I want to say thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to all the speakers that are on the call today. Thank you to our member states and everybody who participates in NASCA. Quick review. So the committee this year reviewed travel scholarship applications, and we awarded 6 to members to attend the annual conference this year. So very excited about that. We all worked together to successfully increase our sponsors and sponsorships. I don't want to be too preemptive in announcing this, but it feels like we may have an historic level of sponsorships this year. Very, very excited for all the hard work that everybody did and see this come together. We are excited that we've moved to an automated dues invoicing system from a paper-based system. So now we are doing electronic invoicing for membership dues. And finally, we've reviewed and approved periodic newsletters, which have been disseminated to the membership. I'm sorry. Got a lot of feedback. Believe they've been helpful. I'll continue to do that over the course of the next year. I will continue to be on this committee, and we are always looking for new members. So thank you very much. Look forward to seeing everybody in a few weeks.
Thanks, Jason. Next, we'll move to our Controlled Substance Committee, and it's with Stella Bailey.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stella Bailey, and I have oversight of the North Carolina Drug Control Unit, which sits in our Department of Health and Human Services. Member at large of the Executive Committee and chair the Controlled Substances Committee. We had a very thoughtful and engaged year this past year in the committee, with membership from state and corporate entities, which provides us with a good perspective of what's happening in controlled substances. We provided input into our conference agenda, a range of topics, including suspicious order reports to kratom and other emerging controlled substances. And emerging controlled substance and drug trends is a large part of the conversation that we've had in the Controlled Substances Committee, in addition to those emerging substances that are going to move from Schedule 1 into FDA approved use. We fully support the access to medications for medical use that are emerging in our system. So to date, we also, in addition to those webinar and conference topics, we are always looking for ways to further engage our regulatory and controlled substances authorities in the states. And we will welcome conversations during the conference and suggestions for just how we do that. I want to thank everyone for participating in that and look forward to another year. Thank you.
Thanks, Stella. Next, we'll move on to our Information and Technology Services Committee, chaired by Rob Marriott.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rod Marriott from the state of Connecticut's Department of Consumer Protection Drug Control Division. I get to chair the Information Technology and Services Committee, and I really want to make sure I thank the committee for their thoughtfulness and meeting so regularly with us so that we can get this information out to everybody. Thank you to all the members who completed surveys. We've sent out a number of surveys this year about DEA topics, how people felt about the last conference, things that we can improve on. And we really want to make sure that we say thank you to everyone that has completed those. It really helps us pick and choose new educational topics that we can use for webinars, things that we do to improve our conference each year and find the right topics for our speakers to speak to, things that are timely and interesting for everybody, so we can really take advantage of all the great things that NASCSA provides us. And so, and I also want to make sure I thank Kathy for keeping me on schedule in all those meetings and organizing it for us. Without her, I'd probably be fairly useless. So, thank you, everybody. And if you have any topics that you want us to survey about, please let us know. And when you do see those surveys, please take the time to fill them out. We do try to keep them short and sweet so that it doesn't take up too much of your time, because if you're like me, you're all very busy.
I did want to mention that our surveys, the survey results are actually posted on the website under the tab called Communications. If you're ever looking for them, we try to be transparent.
You see what I mean? She always keeps me on track.
Thanks, Rod. Thanks, Kathy. Our last order of business for today's webinar is our current slate for elections for the Executive Committee for the Association. We are still taking nominations for those that wish to volunteer in the association. Currently, we have 2 members at large positions, Jason Slavoskis out of Delaware and Rob Marriott out of Connecticut. In addition, we'll have the Secretary Treasurer, Melissa Danoon, and Vice President Sid Seal, and President myself, Eric Griffin. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to either email us, or at this point, we could take some open questions in the chat feature. Or if you have questions or suggestions, please feel free to email any of the executive committee members or Kathy. I'll check the chat real quick to see if we have anything, and check with Kathy. Kathy, is there anything we left out for today's town hall?
There was a question that Dr. Mock posed. I don't know if Ralph can unmute himself and speak to that.
Yeah, I responded to that, Kathy, and I'll be forwarding that comment or that request to the Bylaws and Resolutions Committee so that we can have that ready for when we discuss those at the resolutions at the annual conference.
I don't see any other questions in the chat or the Q&A.
Okay. Well,
So
seeing no other questions at this time, we thank everybody for joining. We look forward to hopefully seeing everybody at this year's conference. We're gonna hopefully have a great turnout, and now that we're getting back to post-COVID times with our associations and getting back to doing the important work that all of us do with controlled substance. So thank you for joining the town hall, and thank you to all the executive members that participated.
thank you.